2 Timothy 4:7. She competed well. She finished the race. She kept the faith. Pat Summitt is immortal now. She was one of the most influential people in the history of sport. But more important, she had a deep personal influence on everyone she touched. She was more than a coach. She was a life changer who dwells in the heart and conscience of all who knew her. She treated illness as just another vehicle to extend her reach. She crossed over. There is no word large enough to encompass her. Pat Summitt was historic. Pat Summitt was magnificent. Pat Summitt was compassionate. Pat Summitt was courageous. Pat Summitt was selfless. If you were from Tennessee, you were proud, because Pat was from Tennessee. If you were country, you were proud, because she was country. If you went to school at UT, you were proud, because Pat was your coach. If you were her friend, you were proud, because Pat was your friend. She had an innate ability to make all of the people within her presence, from any walk of life, feel special. In remembrance, it seems fitting to look back on her life, which she lived with such passion and generosity. A country girl from Henrietta, Tennessee, fell in love with the game. In the family barn on the head farm, Pat's father hung a basketball goal so his children could play every night. The beginning of Pat's competitive fire happened here, with the help of her 3 older brothers.
The way I got involved in the pickup games was like after we'd milk cows, and then a lot of times we'd go in and have dinner, and then we would go to the hayloft, and my dad put lights up in it, and he kept half of it cleaned out, so we could really at that time play half court, and one time we could go full court. But you know, they needed another body, so I was always teamed up with Tommy, because Tommy was the best one, and we went head to head against Charles and Kenneth, and we had a lot of great 2-on-2 pickup games. It was physical. It was tough, and I mean, they were talking smack then, and so was I. But again, that's part of being competitive.
She became a good player at Cheatham County High School and a great player at UT Martin. In 1976, she captained the U.S. Olympic team to its first medal, a silver. At the same time, her coaching career was already underway.
Well, when Dr. Watson and Dr. Lay made contact with Betty Giles and Nadine Guerin at UT Martin, I was a senior there, and obviously I wanted to go on and work on my master's and hopefully someday become a coach. And once they made the contact, and I actually had a chance to sit down and talk with them at the convention in Memphis, they said they wanted me. At first, I was going to be like a graduate assistant and assist Margaret Hudson. Then she decides to take a sabbatical, so they called back to let me know that they want to hire me as the head coach. Well, my first thought is, I have never coached a day in my life. Now, I tell people on the court what to do a lot, even as a player, but I never had to organize a practice, bring a team together, or teach an offense or defense. And I was like, I got to think about this. And obviously, when they called back, I said, I'll do it. And I came here. I had graduate school in mind, so I was taking 4 classes. I taught 4 classes, and I made $250 a month. So I bounced checks all over Knoxville. But it was just, it was an incredible opportunity for me, but at the same time, I was overwhelmed. And I just really tried to live one day at a time and think about every night what I had to do the next day. I knew I had to teach and go to class, and I had to obviously coach.
In the beginning, there was little fanfare or support. There was hardly any budget to speak of. It was just Pat, her players, and her unrelenting drive. From there, the building of one of the great sports legacies began, with her core values as its foundation. But to really appreciate what Pat accomplished, it's important to see the faces of those she shared it with. This is Pat's legacy. mothers, spouses, doctors, professors, and business owners. There are Olympians, professional athletes, and great coaches at every level of the game. Each player that finished her eligibility with the Lady Vols has a college degree. That's a 100% graduation rate over 38 years. On a day we remember her, she would want nothing more than for everyone to acknowledge her players and the contributions they've made. It's an incredible testimony of who Pat was and what she believed.
Real. If I had to describe myself, I think I'm just real. I'm not trying to be anybody I'm not. I want people to know who I am. I hope they understand my passion and my love for the game, but also how I feel about all the people that have made what's happened at Tennessee and women's basketball possible. From the student athletes to the managers to the administrators, to the coaches to the fans. I mean, this is not small potatoes. There's a lot of people that have been hands-on in helping this program be where it is today and making a difference in the lives of young women. And that's always a goal of mine. I know they come in and they are young, and yet when they leave here, they are bright, mature young women that are going to be successful in whatever they do. And just to have a small part in that means the world to me.
Pat, thank you. Thank you for being all these things to us. We are inconsolable. If we had one wish, it would be that you could come back and help us deal with this incalculable loss. None of us wants to go on the court without you. But something tells us we don't have to. You are with us. People ask me all the time, did you play for Pat Summitt? I say, yes, I did. Then they say, that must have been something to play for her. Then I answer, yes, it was. It was something.